Hey folks, welcome to another unboxing video on Wolfpin's Gaming Den. Today we're unboxing the Chalice Dungeon expansion for Bloodborne the board game. The expansion itself is also designed by the same designers Michael Chanel and Eric Lang, and of course it is published by Command Games. For those of you not familiar with the Bloodborne IP, it is a very popular and well-regarded video game IP, known for its dark, somber environment, difficult combat, but rewarding combat. So I assume that a lot of that is emulated in these board games as well. This, of course, is the expansion. I do have other videos on my channel that covers the base game as well as a couple of other expansions, namely Margot's Loft and the Blood Moon box. The Blood Moon box is the box that has all the Kickstarter exclusive that came with the base game itself. This one is a separate a separate big box expansion that came with the game as well. And from what I understand, you may be able to pick this one up as well in retail too if you wanted. Of course, this box comes with its own set of heroes, monsters, I assume different location tiles and things that you can do, but does look to shake up the formula of the main game itself. The base game came with 4 different campaigns. Margot's Loft had another campaign. There's a few other expansions out there that add additional campaigns to the game. This one is focused more on providing a one-shot hunt experience. So if you're looking to play something that is not as much focused on the narrative and just more on the combat and the sort of like the excitement around it, something like this might be up your alley. So without further ado, let's crack into it and see what's inside this box. And we will open up the shrink right here. Now the artwork, for those of you who may be familiar with the game itself, is definitely very evocative of that. Like I said, it's a very dark and somber environment, and the tone certainly speaks to that quite a bit in here. And the art style is very reflective and reminiscent of the video game art style as well. So if you like that, chances are you like this, and if you like this, chances are you like that. So there we go, inside of the box. Now, the couple of other unboxings and the expansions that I'd done earlier did not have a separate rulebook that came with it. This one, it looks like it does, and this might cover sort of like the rules around the additional hunt that you might be able to do. So let's quickly scan through this. So gives you a quick overview of the different components that you will get in the game. Walks you through the setup, the Chalice rights, wraps, hunter versus hunter, so it looks like you might be able to play player versus player on this one. So that's exciting. If you want to have sort of like a one-on-one combat or 2v2, maybe. I don't know if this supposed 2v2 or not, I'm just guessing, but hunter versus hunter definitely implies that you should be able to play 1 versus 1. So if that's something that's of interest to you, this one might just have it. And then there are some special rules as well. So we'll not go into detail on those, but just know that you do have a very light rule book that comes with this one. Next up, we have some cardboard punch outs to get through. So these are new map tiles, as it were. So again, I just did the unboxing for the base game about an hour back, so I can tell you that this is definitely same quality look and feel of those. Do we have anything other than map locations? We do not. So it looks like there is 4x3, 12 of these in this particular expansion. So let's move this to the side. What do we have here now? This is new. So these look like player shields, and this was definitely not in the base game. So this is new in this one, and it looks like this is meant to support the hunter versus hunter combat scenario. So you're going to turn these into shields and basically hide certain things, I assume, behind it. Maybe tokens and other things and whatnot. So interesting. There's 4 of these, so obviously it looks like you should be able to play with 4 players in this format at the same time. And the Bloodborne, the base game itself at least is maxed out at 4, so you have the full complement of players in this one. Next up, these are the player boards for the extra characters I assume you get in the game. These are double-sided. Yeah, they are. And again, if you haven't seen any of the other videos, basically the main difference here is how the weapon is held by the character, because again, in the video game, you're able to change the form of the weapon, sort of like, you know, have it halved or full or whatever. It's you'll know it when you see it, to be able to do different kind of combat with it. And it looks like this follows that trend as well. So as you can see here, you know, she has the sword and the gun, but focus on the gun, whereas here you're focused on the sword. And then you will see a bit of a transmorph thing happening here as well, and then with the rifle spear. So just different uses of the same weapon, as it were. These are cards, and these are the new baddies you can pick up in this expansion. So you have the Rabid Dog, Keeper of the Old Lords, Fluorescent Flower, Gravekeeper Scorpion, Hunting Dog, Labyrinth Rat, and Bellringer. And these are double-sided, of course, with the differences on both the sides. I'm not quite sure yet what the difference is on both the sides. Perhaps you play with one, you get to a certain stage in the combat and you flip it over, or maybe you just choose a side and play with that. But that's for a rules explanation video somewhere down the road. So that's those. And then we have these different cards in here. So you have the Beast Possessed Soul, Phase 2, Phase 1. So this is definitely a phased approach to it. So you might be playing these baddies at certain phases with certain side face up. And then, of course, you have the weapons for the hunters, which we would have seen in the other boxes as well. And this, of course, does not come with a campaign, so the other games that had campaigns had sort of like a campaign deck, as it were. But because this comes with sort of like a player versus player, hunter versus hunter, or one-shot hunt format, it looks like there's some setup rules around those that you can use as well. Yeah, so that's there. So you get these cards in. We'll move these to the side. And this is the deck that tells you sort of like the actions or the weapons or something like that of the different baddies that we had a look at earlier on. So it's basically their deck. Again, just, I don't know the rules. It's just based on the look and feel and what I can see so far. So you have the cards for the Beast Possessed Soul, Undead Giant, more Undead Giant, the Yarnum Tumerian Queen, Tumerian Descendant, Watchdog. You get the idea. And then on the other side, we can see there's a lot of text, actions, things that the character might be doing, and so on and so forth. So these are for the baddies to play with, I think. And then, of course, we move on to the inner sanctum, as it were. Now, this is a bit of an interesting format, and we saw this with a couple of the other expansions as well, where you had a cardboard cover covering sort of like a more of a traditional plastic insert for minis. So let's bring this out here, and we'll have a look at what these do right now. All right, so the light gray ones, let me just move this here. The light gray ones are the additional heroes or characters you can play with in this one, so you can mix and match with the stuff that comes in the base game, this one, or any one of the other expansions, should you have them to play with as well. So let's have a look at a couple of these and see the level of detail that we can expect on them. And again, I would say it's consistent with what I've seen with the other minis for Bloodborne. Generally, these characters do tend to have a bit more detail on them. By these characters, I mean sort of like the other main play characters, as it were. And if you want to paint any of these, you'll be happy to know that they do look attractive. I will not be painting them, but I assume a lot of you might be. So this hopefully gives you a good sense of what to expect inside the box. Nice. Just quickly scanning through some of these. We're not going through all of them, obviously, but just to give you a sense of what's in the box. What's in the box? Yeah, these are all fairly decent. I think we had a look at most of these. Maybe the scorpion one right here. There we go. Hopefully you can make it out. Lots of good detail on it. It's of course a little not as sturdy as thicker plastic, but if you're careful with this should hold up fine on place. So we'll move this to the side, and then let's take this lid off and see what's in here. So we'll save these big ones for the end. Let's maybe start by looking at these first. Well, hopefully we don't have these rats infesting anybody's home. These look mean. I don't know what this is, but again, good artwork, good level of detail, and very, very creepy. Appropriately so, I would say. Now, the Bloodborne, the video game, does have quite a bit of Lovecraft inspiration on it, so you would get to see that with a lot of the miniatures, a lot of the models in the video game, and so far in the board game as well. And this one is quite big. You can see it's pretty much the size of my palm right here. Yeah, if you're planning on painting some of the minis in this one, this would definitely be a very strong candidate. Good detail. Ooh, would be difficult to get in there. It looks, and I mean, I know it's plastic, but it's scary just peeking in there. Anyway, let's have a look at this one. Oh, I'm going to pretend that she's having a sip from a Starbucks coffee or something, and yeah, let's just say she's doing that. Well, this guy means business. Enough messing around. Again, these are quite decent in size, good level of detail on them. Artistically, I would say good flourishes overall. Definitely in keeping with the aesthetics of the video game, for sure. All right, and then last but not the least, what do we have here? Oh, that is creepy. It's like a insect type creature, but just huge.